Freeman, Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 630.
WMAL. It's 8:37 on the Morning Majority, and we have Brett Baier, special report anchor from Fox News. How you doing, Brett?
Good morning.
Some interesting stories coming out yesterday. Judicial Watch got their hands on some White House emails in which you were dubbed a lunatic.
Yes. This is almost 2 years ago when we were in the heat of whatever you want to call the Fox White House battle back then, and Judicial Watch got these emails that one showed that there was an effort to exclude Fox in a round-robin pool interview, despite denials that was the case, and two, that there was an email from a White House aide saying that the story that we did on the issue was wacko, and said Brett Baier is a lunatic. So I was off yesterday when all of this broke, and
because that's what lunatics do, you know.
That's what they do. They bark at the moon, and they do things like that.
It was a full moon this week. You never know what he was up to.
Yeah. I received an email from Jen Psaki, the aide in question, and she apologized for what she said was humor on her side, and said that she respects what I do and what Fox does on the news side of things. So this is long water on the bridge, under the bridge, as far as we're concerned, because the relationship with the White House has been actually pretty good in recent months, and hopefully will continue.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, it seems like it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, and we talk to them all the time. We get questions answered, and we have guests come on, and we hope to have the president back on special report sometime soon.
Well, at the time, if I remember correctly, I was proud of the rest of the press corps saying, hey, this is not going to happen. They questioned Gibbs quite roughly about it and stood up for Fox.
Yeah, and that was a turning point. I mean, Michael Clementi, the senior vice president of Fox, put out a statement yesterday and saying, if this bad experience back then was what it took, then so be it. But right now, we've established a much better relationship.
All right. Now, the relationship between Republicans and Democrats right now, and the president specifically over these debt negotiations, is, well, I don't know where it is. It seems like it certainly got heated the other day. Are we going down to the last minute, and by that I mean to the August 2nd deadline, or is it possible that this thing may go over August 2nd at this point?
I just can't believe that it'll get past there. I don't believe it. With all these rating agencies coming out and saying that they're going to downgrade the credit rating of the U.S., I just don't think it's going to happen. So I think that the plan that's getting the most attention, the one that's getting the focus, is Mitch McConnell's escape hatch plan.
Right.
The plan that was originally a last-ditch proposal is now the front-burner proposal. And I think it's going to continue to be that way until you move towards that deadline.
Now, if that idea is to pass in the House, there are going to have to be a lot of Democrats to get on board with that, right? Because I would think a lot of Republicans in the House wouldn't vote for the McConnell plan.
That's probably true. And this is going to be the biggest challenge for Speaker Boehner, to try to get, frankly, to get anything through the House. But to get the McConnell plan through the House, it's going to take some effort. Privately, after his interview on Special Report the other day, he said that he thought when the president talked about Social Security checks not going out August 3rd, he was actually saying the right thing as far as cash flow. On August 3rd, the cash flow is not there to pay the checks that day. They might go out August 4th or August 5th, but that day they might not go out. And that really got lawmakers spooked, and it changed the dynamic, he said. And in the House, he said that's not a bad thing to be able to get something through.
Well, what is the next step? Are we meeting today? Are we doing something over the weekend?
Today. They're giving the day off to go back to their caucuses and try to get what exactly can get through each chamber, and then likely meeting tomorrow. The president put 24 to 36 hours on it to get a deal. One other thing about that S&P 500 credit rating warning, they are saying that the credit rating likely will be reduced anyway, even if the debt ceiling does get raised because of the underlying debt problem. And a lot of times we forget, we're all about these deadlines and if you're going to push up against it, but the big problem is this debt monster that is still has Wall Street spooked.
Well, I felt like yesterday there was a little bit of change because I felt like people started to say, hey, this has to be done. A lot of conservatives and guys on the economic side saying, you know what, you don't want to mess with this anymore. I know Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan, came out yesterday and said, don't mess with this at all. Doug Holtz-Eakin, Bush's CBO director, said it's got to be done. And I know that Boehner and McConnell have said since day one that they want to raise the debt ceiling. So Is there more pressure being put on Republicans now because, they have said that they want to raise the debt ceiling and they know that they need to, and other conservatives are kind of saying, it has to be done for them to get a deal, or am I misreading that?
No, I think you're reading it right, and the PR battle has definitely been most bruising to Republicans. The split between McConnell and Boehner, or perceived split, the split between Boehner and Cantor, the House Republicans, the Tea Party Republicans who have a real problem with this whole thing. So yes, I think that the pressure is on Republicans. Yet, the president is the ultimate, has to feel the heat here as we get closer to this deadline. And, his ability to get a deal done, whatever it is, by Senator McConnell putting that on the table, it is something that gets them out of the bind. The bottom line is that tax reform, the big-ticket tax reform, taking corporate tax rates down, closing loopholes, that's really the biggest way you reduce the deficit, and it takes time to do.
Yeah. Are you going to have Krauthammer on tonight?
Yes.
Oh, good, because he's suggesting this sort of short-term, but not too short-term, like a 5-month deal, where you would match the hike and the cuts, and then say, all right, we work out tax reform now.
Right, and he said that last night. He thinks the House should have moved. Others, Steve Hayes and others, think by McConnell's plan being out there, it kind of makes the House movement moot, right? Because there's a choice. The president can come out and say, I like Mitch McConnell's plan, and then that kind of undercuts the House Republicans. But Charles' deal is, this is what's going to be able to get through the House, and that's the bottom line. What can you get through the legislative body?
All right. I got a feeling we'll be talking about this next Friday.
Something tells me.
All right, Brett, good to talk to you. Have fun.
Okay, I'm going to go bark at the moon.
Nice.
Brett Baer, Fox News special reporter here with the Morning Majority, 845 on WMAL.